Hi there, my name is Kronenberg and welcome to my channel. This is a film review of Frankenstein Reborn. It's a horror, came out in 2005, it's an 18, an hour and 24 minutes. I can only find it on YouTube, so therefore there's only an IMDb rating of 3.2 out of 10, so I read the IMDb synopsis. In this horrifying modern retelling of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, a neurosurgeon, obsessed with the reanimation of dead flesh, murders his patients and resurrects the corpse. Kind of. So the director is Lee Scott, who directed The Little Mermaid. Producer, well, there's 5 of them, but with producer on we have David Michael Latt, who did The Jolly Monkey, David Rimawi, who did Gladiators, and Sherry Strain, who did First Christmas. Music was by Regan, R-E-G-A-N, who did Danger Diva. The cast, we have Rhett Giles, who was Dr. Victor Frank, was in Beauty and the Beast. Thomas Downey, who was Dr. Robert Walton, was in Rivers 9. Joel Ezra Hebner, H-E-B-N-E-R, was Bryce, who was in Sleight, S-L-E-I-G-H-T. Eliza Swenson was Elizabeth Weatherly, she was in The Lost Girls. Jeff Denton was Hank Clerval, was in The Toy Box, and Christina Rosenberg, who was Rebecca Clark, she was in The Beast of Bray Road. I've reviewed that, that's an asylum film in case you're curious. It's filmed in Los Angeles in USA, it's also known as Frankenstein, and some trivia is, there was a song called Sweet Intoxication, if I can speak, written and performed by Eliza Swenson. If that's the song that I heard at the very end, don't give up acting. Now, I don't tend to read the synopsis at all when I watch these films. I do originally back in the day, but not when I come around to watching it, so I like to watch them kind of like blank, if you know what I mean. So the bit about the neurosurgeon and the modern day thing I didn't know anything about. Murders his patients is kind of... yeah, take that with a pinch of salt. It's an asylum film, so it's one of the many. I mean, if you recognise the director and the producer, I recognise them now, because I've been reviewing quite a lot of their films. So I was watching it, like, it's a modern take, because there's some woman who's rung Victor on a mobile phone. I thought, well, this is different, not what I was expecting with a Frankenstein film. And that was just the start. It didn't end very well for her, unfortunately. And then the music and credits kicked in, so this bassy music kicked in. I don't think it was her singing this song, it's just some bassy music. Now I wear headphones, because I watch these late at night. And my headphones, unfortunately for me, are gaming headphones. And they're Turtle Beach, if it doesn't mean old to anybody if you ain't got one. But they basically amplify bass a lot, so you can hear if there's somebody like tapping around the corner or something like this. But all I could hear was in my ears. Oh my god, my eardrums are about to just give up. Now, Victor's undergoing this assessment, right? And this nurse says, "Oh yeah, he's a sociopath." So I was like, "That's a good sign." I think it was to see if he could stand trial or something. That's what I was guessing at the time. Even though it wasn't when you read it later on or watch it later on. Now, as I say, it's interesting because it's brought into the modern times, and he's trying to do good for people. So he's a neurosurgeon. He's not like Frankenstein. Yeah, because it was Frankenstein originally, if you remember, from the Mary Shelley books. If you ever read it, I don't think I've read it. Actually, I have read it. But if you watch the films, you know, he's just dicking about trying to create a corpse who then just walks around and kills everyone. And everyone thinks that Frankenstein is the monster, but it's not. I will jump sideways. If you ever read the book, it's completely different to a lot of the films you've ever seen, including this one. A lot. Because I won't spoil it for you, but the monster isn't like how you think he is. Basically, he's very good at speaking. Very eloquent. And he seems to go all over the world. It's just like, what the hell? It's just so weird. So if you're so used to Frankenstein, you're like, yeah, Vincent Price, you know, or Peter Cushing's, or Hammer Films, or the other, and the la, and you think, oh yeah, I want to see what this is like, I want to read the book. Be warned, it ain't anything like it. Took me for surprise. Get the original, the Penguin Classics. Anyway, So we have Bryce. Right, so there's the wheelchair. I think he's like a paraplegic or something. Or he's definitely not paraplegic, but definitely, confined to a wheelchair. And he said he'd rather die than be how he is. So, and then he's literally then he's walking, and then he has some interesting dreams. Let's call him. So he wants his chair back. He's like, just put me back in the chair. It's like, I thought you wanted death. And if you do watch it, because it's on YouTube, the audio goes up and down, kind of weirdly. So sometimes it'll be like, and then it's like booming in your ears, and like, oh my god! So you're constantly having to sort out the volume. So there's a scene with Victor and Rebecca, right? And I think she's applying for the job of being in the neurosurgeon's thing. And he's kind of off screen, so you can't really see him. So I think, I did realise he was sat in a chair at this point. And so she's speaking like this, and he's like, yes. And she's going, oh, yes, of course. And then she's, like I say, she's trying to get the job. And Victor says, oh, it's long hours, your social life's going to be ruined. Your boyfriend will need to know this. The typical, here, let's try this angle. And she says, I'm single. And he goes, excellent. And she says, I'll do whatever it takes, doctor. Whatever. And I thought, oh my god, come on, flirt much? And like I say, she flirts even more. And then I thought I stumbled into another type of film, because Elizabeth and Rebecca gets more acquainted. It's just like, what the hell am I watching? Now, I think this was about, how far was I into the film at this point? About halfway, half an hour into it, or 40 minutes into it. So there was no special effects at this point. So there was the point where Hank got into Bryce, because obviously he's having his surgery. And it was just a case of, you saw the knife on the skin, and then they moved away to the face or the body of the neurosurgeon and Hank, and then this squirt of blood just comes out, so you don't see anything. This was at the time. And then Victor yells out, it's alive, it's alive. I was like, yes. So you just told the good doctor you love him, even though earlier he found you with another guy. You go to your friend, right, and you have some wine. You kind of want to talk, because you're feeling a bit rejected. She gives you a tablet to make you feel better and says the immortal line, trust me. And you drink from that. You drink them down with your wine, and then you go for a bath. What could possibly go wrong? It's like, now this, I had to watch this twice because I loved it. There was a scene with the babysitter, Susie, and the kid. I won't go. Well, I can explain it because it's in the quote that I'm going to say. So the monster appears in Wendy's, the kid's bedroom. It's obviously the kid's talking to it, because it's just like, it's just another person. And babysitter's like, bloody hell. So she goes upstairs, says, who are you talking to? And she says, I was talking to my new friend. And she just laughed it off. Yeah. Anyway, she went back downstairs. A bit later on, not very long, she's basically just running, because the monster's walking after us. Typical thing, monsters walk, everyone runs, they catch up. She yells to Wendy, says, she goes, Wendy, and it goes, what is it, Susie? And she's on the balcony above, on the stairs. She says, call 911. She says, I don't want to call 911. She says, do it, you little bitch, or you're gonna die. So then she's running off, and then she's in the kitchen and goes, Wendy, bring me the phone, get here now. She goes, Susie. It says, she says, do you still have the phone? That's what Susie says to her, because she gets there. And she goes, yeah, do you want me to call 911? And she goes, give me the bloody phone. She says, can my friend call 911? And then the monster appears behind her, behind Wendy, and all you see is Susie screaming her lungs out, and that's unfortunately the last scream she ever does. But it was just so funny watching it. It was just the fact that she was like, I don't want to call 911. I said, just call you little bitch, or you're gonna die. It's like, yeah, kill the babysitter. And the good old strawberry jam squirts well. Why wear a visor? And you just close your mouth because it just like squirts everywhere. It's like in a squirty bottle. Now, it was an interesting concept. Like I say, it was more modern. And there's some other bits as well that were a bit more weird. Now, it's a shame we never saw the actual killing or any effects, so we didn't see any, like, cutting of limbs or cutting into the body or any of that stuff. There was none of that. It was just like, right, we're going to cut, now we'll see some squirts. It's like, but it's an 18, where is it? Maybe it was those scenes with Rebecca and Elizabeth, I don't know, but they weren't exactly, music on the end of the credits is completely weird, bassy again, and then I found out it was the singer was one of the actresses, so that about sums it up. But I'm actually going to give it a 5. It was quite enjoyable, especially the babysitter bit. I thought that was fun. It was quite funny. I think she's been in some films that I've seen. Let me have a look. What was her name? Susie, wasn't it? Monique Jones, apparently. And she's been in any films I've seen. I swear I've seen her in something else. Maybe 15 to Life. I don't know. She's just got one of those faces that looks like... In fact, no, I know what she looks like. She looks like somebody from Friday the 13th, but she's bloody not. In fact, she can't be because she was young in that. Yeah, she looks like somebody from the first Friday the 13th, I think. Yep, the first Friday the 13th. But it's not, because that came out in 1981, I think it was, or 1980, I can't remember which exact. Anyway, that's beside the point. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching and listening to this film review of Frankenstein Reborn. Please subscribe to my channel. I've got plenty of the film reviews, quite a lot of Asylums. If you want to watch any of those, they're in the playlist at the end, so enjoy them. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this video. Leave a comment below. Have you seen this this film? Yeah. Okay, well, thank you and goodbye.